Hey everybody, it is Mark from Epic Outcomes by EXP. Again, this is the monthly market update from Epic Outcomes, the leading team here in East Tennessee. That's where we want to be. Again, we are here to help you buy, sell, and manage property in the East Tennessee area, Knoxville, Sevier County, Greater Smoky Mountains. Looking forward to working with you. So quick update. Let's get into what's been going on in the market. A little bit about us. It is a team composed of my wife and myself and our virtual assistants that help with our business. We have been in this for quite a while. We own and operate a multi-million-dollar portfolio of short-term rentals, but then obviously do a lot with residential in the area. So regardless of what your needs are, we are here to serve. Without further ado, let's actually look at the market. So this is the East Tennessee home sales report for September 24. Now this is going to cover about 11 counties. So Knox and the surrounding areas, reaching out almost as far as Johnson City, Tennessee. Home sales were down over the last month. Not a big surprise as we're coming out of the summer seasons. We're always going to see a little bit lower and slower because we've got people settling in. We've got kids in school. There's not as much moving around. Median sale price for East Tennessee up to $370,000. That's almost a 10% gain year over year. So we continue to see appreciation in this market. In fact, we were at a Grid Knoxville event as an investors event just this week, and they are talking about within the Knoxville specific market seeing anywhere from a 5 to a 7% increase year over year in pricing on homes. And that's coming off of a year where we're at 6.295% increase year over year coming out of last year. So this continues to be, and I'm speaking Knoxville specific now, Knoxville is still a underserved market from the standpoint of available inventory. You're looking at less than 2 months of inventory on the market, and I can tell you that things are moving very quickly. We listed a house this month. It was not even finished. It was in the midst of a renovation. We priced it appropriately. We put it on the market on a Saturday morning. It had a showing within 45 minutes, and that same party that came through had it under contract that evening. It did not stay on the market for more than 9 hours. So again, things are moving quickly here when they're priced appropriately, and there's always new things coming to market, but you need to be working with someone who is watching the market for you and will respond quickly and can put a contract in place. So please get in touch with us. Let's make sure that you have everything. If you are shopping the Knoxville market right now, then definitely let us know. Let us be there to assist you and help you secure that next great home. Jumping back to our report, total housing inventory actually was up from last year. And a part of that is the markets are loosening up a little bit from the standpoint of as we've seen people start to realize that interest rates are probably not going to come flying back down to their low levels. People have been renting long enough, they need to buy something, and so people are moving out of homes and picking up new homes. There's churn in the area, whereas we saw a lot of lock-in last year. So that's why we're seeing a little bit of inventory increase, which is helping things a lot because you're not getting into bidding wars, but you are having to move quickly, as I said. I won't go through everything else, but you can see half of the homes sold were under contract in 20 days or less. So these are not sitting for a long time. The other thing to keep in mind is the sales to list price ratio. Sales to list price ratio basically says, what did it go for versus what did it hit the market on? Because it is a tight market and because there is a lot of parity in a lot of these neighborhoods, and we've had a good run here for a little while, people are understanding you're probably not going to get a screaming deal moving over here. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get a much better deal than what you would have gotten in another state. But comparatively, it's not like things are listed at $400,000 and you can offer $350,000 and expect to close. It's probably not going to happen unless that house is meaningfully overpriced, and then it's probably skewing the statistics. So let's jump on to the next slide here. This is active listings by county. You can see right here on the right side, Monroe and Morgan have had quite a bump. Campbell, Blount, and Anderson also seeing a rise in the number of available listings. Some of that's due to additional growth in those areas, builders putting stuff online out there. Again, if we're looking at raw numbers, nothing really compares to Knox County at 1,309 listings. Your next closest is going to be Blount, which is Maryville, Alcoa, sits here on the southwest side right by the airport. Cumberland County just up from us, and then Loudoun just to the west. So those are still your most robust areas where you're doing the majority of the business. With those, you've seen each one of those fluctuate. They're all down just a little bit again. Month over month, not a big surprise to see those areas where you have good schools, lots of families. They're going to quiet down. You're not going to have as much going on. And by the way, we're pointing out this is the October active listings. What we were looking at on the last slide was September sales data. So we're always about a month to 2 months in arrears on what we're seeing. So, again, this is just to kind of show you when you summarize all those statistics and look at everything. Let me move my big head here so you can see we get basically 2 months of inventory. And I would argue that right now that's probably flat to maybe even down a little bit with what we've seen lately. So if we were looking at this for November, it's probably a little bit less than that. Again, that report will be out shortly. We'll have that in everybody's hands. But based upon this, you are looking at a seller's market. And that means buyers. It doesn't mean that a buyer shouldn't be buying. It just means that the seller probably does have the upper hand and can expect to sell on a objectively and fairly priced offering in the market to sell quickly and to have multiple interested parties rather than having things just hang around. This is very different than some of the other markets in the U.S. They got built out too much and things are just languishing and people can't make the gap to buy and sell in those markets. Now, we're going to move on. This is kind of a historical price. Now, this is going back to 19, so it should be absolutely no surprise that we've seen, and I won't call this meteoric, but it is a heck of a rise in your average price over the last couple of years. So this is basically a 5-year window running from October 19 to October 24. So we've seen literally probably a 70% increase in value. And a lot of that's just due to inflation, but it's also due to the lack of everyone having a place to live in these markets that are growing. In Knoxville, Tennessee in general has become more attractive. There's a great tax regimen. You don't pay much in the way of property taxes here. We don't pay a state income tax here. Your total sales tax is about 9.25%. So that's really on par with a lot of other states that do have additional taxes and surcharges and just higher cost structures for living. And we're seeing more business move into this area. So that's really, really helpful. But it has moved prices up across the region. Active listings. Now you'll notice this, the average cost on an active listing over the last year has steadied out. So part of that is, while we've seen value go up, we're kind of hitting a window where everything is balancing a little bit from value on our active listings. So this is not the number. This is actually the value of your average listing in the area. So you're running about $450,000. So let's jump over into Sevier County. This is for my investor crowd that's following this. Sevier County is actually becoming a buyer's market. Why is that? Well, one, we'll look at the prices there. Sevier County, obviously, depending upon what your needs are, what your wants are, is a really attractive place to be. Certainly, as you get into southern Sevier County, you're into Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and the surrounding areas. You're basically at the mouth of the mountains. You're right there into the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. It's a beautiful place to live. It's a very popular place to invest. And that is what has caused us to move into a buyer's market. Is we had a run up on those lower rates. We had short-term rental owners buying all over the place, and other investors as well. It wasn't just short-term, some mid-term markets, some buy and hold, long-term rental. But there was so much activity in that area, and there continues to be a fair amount of activity in that area, that it has actually become a buyer's market where people were bidding $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 over asking price when they could lock something in at 3.5%. Now, a lot of those people paid up. They do have a good interest rate, but they paid a hefty price for something, and not everybody is great at the short-term rental game. A lot of people walk into that unprepared. And if they are unprepared, unfortunately, despite having gotten what you thought was a deal, you're not competing very well. And if you're not competing very well, you're probably not making money. And I would say in many cases, people are losing money. They've turned these over to property managers who don't really know what they're doing or don't really care. And they are not pricing things competitively. They are not active in marketing their listings. And so people are now having a hard time covering that. I will tell you, we're actually having a great year. All the properties that we brought online and our historicals are actually doing better this year than they did last year. But we also put quite a bit of effort into that. And that is that's what it takes these days. You've got to constantly be upgrading, looking at what the market trends are, adding things here and there, repairing things, but actively marketing your property and managing your pricing around the year. So for those of you looking at the STR market, it is still a good market. In fact, I would argue right now, with interest rates a little bit higher and people starting to kind of have their come to Jesus moment, that they can't just ask for crazy pricing anymore because there is a fair amount of inventory out there that they're competing against. This is not at all a bad time. In fact, I would argue a good time to look at buying in the Smokies. Be prepared. Let's have a discussion. Schedule time with us so we can explain to you what it takes to be successful in this market. But understand that this has been a great market for a long time, and it will continue to be a great market. If you look at the commercial development in the area, the attractions, the amount of money that's going into new businesses, restaurants, shopping, everything else, you'll realize they all do. I mean, for these multi-million dollar investments that they're making, they are making long-term investments, but they also are doing a lot of market study. So it's not hard to chase a market where you can see significant commercial investment because they've done the work for you. So while you'll hear people say, oh, it shouldn't be in Gatlinburg, shouldn't be in Pigeon Forge, it's a flooded market. Not true. There is a market out there where there are homes and short-term rental availability that, people are not making money, but that is their problem for not managing it correctly. So with that, buyer's market in the area, you can see we have seen a run up on pricing over the last couple of years, roughly on par, maybe a little bit higher because of the investor tilt that we saw. But there were points here in 22 where we were seeing things that were going for under 300,000 that were accelerating to almost 700,000. And then again in July of 23, when everybody thought things were going to turn over and we're going to see, interest rates come crashing back down, we got a serious spike during that fall. I would say now I expect this trend right here to kind of stay flattish to maybe down for just a little while. Now, if we get what we expect, which is, call it anywhere from 75 to 100 basis points of lowering in our Fed prime rate over the next year, once our new president takes office, then I would say that this will flatten. I don't know that it'll really bend back up, but I think we're in a range now where we can say this median price is probably going to be between $565 and $635, somewhere up in that range. And again, that comes down to what are you buying? Is that an older property that needs renovation? Are you buying new construction? New construction obviously going to come at a higher rate, no question about it. But then again, if you're buying an older property, what are you buying and how much money do you need to put into it to make it competitive? So you can see the active listings have sat there almost as if nothing was moving, but we have actually seen more come on the market. And I will tell you that there's plenty that moves during this period. There's just always replacement. So it's just kind of a rolling inventory. We have seen the active median price for listings, though, start to come down as people have gotten realistic about what they should expect to achieve on a sale. Again, that's part of why it's a buyer's market in Sevier County right now. So here's our sold listings. This jagged little pill, if you will, for an Alanis Morissette reference, this has gone down, up, down, back, forth. Again, this is not because there's wild swings in pricing. It's just a matter of what moves. You have condos that sell for $200,000. You have these mountain chalets that sell for $1.5 million. So in any given period, you can have a clump of real estate properties that move, that swing towards one end of the market, that drag this pricing all over the place. It doesn't take but a couple of those either occurring or not occurring to swing this. But if you look at the trend line, it's still hanging around that $500,000 mark over that period. And that's basically over the course of about a year. Or 2 years, excuse me. It's September 22 through October of 24. We're still somewhere up in this range right here. So last deal, and this is, again, we're just a tiny bit behind because September market update, but we haven't seen a massive change. But we were looking at about 6.5 on your primary rates. Again, if you were doing investment properties in the Sevierville area versus buying, residential in Knoxville, 6.5 is probably more applicable if you're using a DSCR loan. If you don't know what a DSCR loan is, reach out to us so we can set up and walk you through that. But that's a commercial cash flow based loan that allows you to purchase properties as long as you've got the cash to put your 20% down up front. that is a loan that is underwritten on the rentable value of the home. So it is not a traditional product where you have to make a certain amount of money to qualify. In fact, as long as you have a reasonable credit rating, it actually has nothing to do with what you make. So if you got cash on hand, but maybe you're independent or you're a really good tax strategist and you don't show a whole lot in the way of income, DSCRs are your friend. They will cost you about 100 to 125 basis points on your borrowing value. But we highly encourage every single investor out there to look at using DSCRs. We do it for most of our properties. And while it does come with a little higher cost, remember you are running a business. You are able to write that all off. So this is just a little bit of some reviews we've gotten recently from folks that we've been working with, and we're really proud of it. We are extremely happy with the people that we get to work with, and they all seem to be really happy with us. And I credit my wife a great deal on that. Kelli is a pro. She's been doing this for a really long time. She knows the ins and outs. I'm just a pretty face, as you can tell from the camera. So we want to work with you. Again, here's our information. You get my big head out of the way, put it up here next to the Sun Sphere, which, you know, I'm not that pretty, but they just refurbished this. So if you're in Knoxville, come by and check out the new Sun Sphere. It's been completely redone. They had a big opening ceremony in the Clydesdales from Budweiser, and it was a whole thing. Didn't make it out there that day. Unfortunately, probably for the best, really. I didn't need the Budweiser's Clydesdale and beer at 10 in the morning. I was busy showing homes. So give us a call at Epic Outcomes. Our information is down here at the bottom. You can text, you can email, you can go to the website. If you want this presentation so you have something to reference, great. Reach out, let us know. I'd be happy to shoot it over to you. I can shoot you a Loom video link so that you have the commentary. That way you get the slides and the video. And please sign up with us. Let us know that you want to keep getting information. We'll be doing this every month, and then doing some mid-month updates as there's additional available information on the market. But we really look forward to working with you and your family or your friends and other investors. Give us a call. Have a great week, everyone. We look forward to talking to you soon.